What's up everybody, it's Robin Gaming here. So I don't know if it's just me, but I've always felt like the WipEout series, as far as PlayStation exclusive goes, has been a little bit underappreciated. You don't hear that many people talk about it, even though it's been around since like forever, the PS1 days. Yeah, you know, like you don't hear that many people about it, right? In my opinion at least. And I think that's really not deserved at all, because the games are awesome. I've always been a big fan of them ever since I myself started playing them, which was around, I think, the PSP days. Yeah, I played a couple of those games that came out on that platform, but then mainly when it got to like the PS3 with WipEout HD and the Fury expansion, I played the absolute hell out of those games, gotten the 100% trophies, platinum and stuff like that, which was quite, I guess, infamous in a way, because yeah, it's like an infamous platinum in the way that not many people were able to get it. It was apparently very hard, but yeah, I really thoroughly enjoyed those games, and so I found it a shame to see not that many people talk about the franchise that highly. It's why we've seen Sony Studio Liverpool get closed a couple years ago, which made me somewhat scared that the WipEout series would forever be over now, and maybe that's still going to be the case, but at least they're now re-releasing the PS3 and Vita games, by which I mean WipEout HD, the Fury expansion, and also WipEout 2048, which was the Vita release, on PS4 right now. This is WipEout the Omega Collection. I've gotten an early review copy from Sony, so I've been able to play already once again the shit out of the game for the last pretty much few days, and what can I say, this is simply those same games put into one big package, and they feel just as awesome to play right now on PS4. I would highly recommend them, whether you're a fan of the series that really likes these games as well and would like to revisit them, or you're somebody who is going to go in fresh, who's never played a WipEout game. For only 35 bucks, these three games are simply kind of like, to me, a must-have. I've just been thoroughly enjoying them once more, so let's actually get into the review. So as far as presentation goes, yeah, the game simply looks gorgeous. You can tell by the gameplay that you're watching right now. What they've done is they've taken those original games and put them in 4K 60 FPS on the PS4 Pro. And if you're playing on the original PS4, it's going to be simply, once again, in 60 FPS, but I think on a 1080p resolution, as you're pretty much, you know, used to from these games. Yeah, the 60 FPS really adds to the fluid feeling of the game, because I always feel like WipEout feels so satisfying to play, and the 60 FPS really adds to that. The game simply looks gorgeous. Like, I think what I was mainly surprised about myself was the fact that the Vita version 2048, I expected to look the worst, because it does come from the Vita. The game on that looked good, but not as good as WipEout HD on the PS3. But now that they've taken these to PS4 and really remastered them super well, to the point where you can barely tell that this was a PS3 and a Vita game, yeah, mainly 2048 to me stood out with the vibrant environments, the lush colors and everything like that. So I really enjoyed 2048, I think, the most out of them, simply for the settings and stuff. It added some more color to it, which was a very welcome, you know, a welcome shift from the HD environments, I guess. So as far as gameplay goes, you know, this is going to be the same as you're used to. WipEout is kind of like a racing game with a combination of different game modes to really spice things up. So it has a racing, simple game mode where you're playing against AI, or if you're playing online, of course, against other players. But what you have there, it's pretty much like a simple track racing game with speed pads, I guess, or boost pads, or whatever you want to call them, on the map. Or you can get these power-ups, so you can fire a rocket at people, or lay some mines, get another speed boost. And what you're trying to do is simply destroy your opponents, while at the same time finishing, of course, in first place. The game has a time trial game mode, or like a speed lap, in which you're trying to pretty much get the best times solo on these certain tracks. WipEout 2048 added some like a combat fight game mode, which is really mainly about simply getting points by destroying your opponents, which I myself am not the biggest fan of, because I really feel like what I like about WipEout is the races, and simply feeling super, or feeling like I'm having that momentum, going very fast on these tracks. That's what feels so awesome about the WipEout series to me. And a great mode that kind of like really focuses on that is the zone mode, where it's pretty much like a survival type game mode. Every 10 seconds you enter a new zone, and you try to survive for as long as possible, because your ship will be going faster and faster, you know, every zone you enter. So you're just trying to stay alive for as long as possible without hitting too much stuff and without getting your vehicle destroyed. Fury also added some more game modes with the expansion that it was to HD. So yeah, yeah, as far as gameplay goes, WipEout really has always had these different kind of game modes that all try to do something different. Some do it better than others, in my personal opinion. I mean, it really is a taste thing, but I simply like the game modes that focus more on the actual racing. So by that I mean the time trials, speed laps, and the zone game mode. What's also awesome about zone, by the way, is the color palette. You can see that right now. It changes every few zones, and in that way it really switches things up. And as far as graphics goes, that just looks absolutely awesome. I think another thing in which WipEout the Omega Collection really stands out is simply the value. Like, there is lots of content here. Me, myself, I tried now to finally beat WipEout 2048, and I'm very close to actually beating it now. It has a total of like, what, 70-75 races before you actually beat the entire campaign, which is quite a lot, and it's gonna mean you're gonna at least spend like, what, 15-20 hours before you're finally done with that game, and then you still have HD and Fury to play. So, you know, yeah, there is lots of content here. You'll probably be busy for at least 50 hours, if not more, playing the game, and then I'm just talking about the single player modes. Further than that, you know, yeah, what you're really trying to do is get all the gold medals. So there's a lot of trophies, very challenging one in which you're pretty much tasked with getting all the gold medals on the higher difficulties with all of these challenges. So that's gonna take an additional amount of time for you to be able to do that. And there is also a multiplayer mode in which you're able to play all of these game modes that I've mentioned before against other people online, which means that, yeah, there is pretty much an infinite amount of time you could be playing this game if you want to. So this is pretty much like, you know, this is all there is to it. It is those same games that you've already hopefully played on the PS3 and on Vita. There's nothing really changed there. There are a couple of negatives that I would like to point out, which, you know, didn't really bother me that much, but still, they do exist, by which I mainly mean that I think there's not really a lot of tracks. I feel like many of the times I was simply doing challenges on the same tracks, and even though this is, yeah, an HD collection, there are so many challenges out there so that you're gonna have lots of them taking place on the same tracks. I think in total there are maybe around like 24 or something, I believe. Apart from that, the games are also separate, so in that way, like, when you're trying to play, for example, WipEout 2048, and you unlock a certain ship there, that ship is not going to be unlocked on the HD version. So I think they could have done a slightly better job in the way that they could have combined these games together, in the way that the unlocks are, you know, synchronous in that way, right? If you beat a certain challenge here and you unlock that certain ship, you should have it unlocked in the other one as well. You can also see that by the HUD, for example. I think WipEout 2048 has the more cleaner HUD. The WipEout HD game looks a little, yeah, outdated with the way the HUD looks, but it doesn't carry over. Like, they didn't put one HUD into the other game as well. They didn't really smoothen that out to make it seem like one big package. No, it really seems like you're just at one point selecting HD, then 2048, or then the Fury expansion, so they are still very separate in that way. And the last, I guess, negative I had is that I personally, and once again I pointed this out a little earlier, I don't like maybe the power-up challenges, or just the challenges where you're trying to take out opponents that much. What I really think is awesome about WipEout is that feeling of fluid movement, going fast, having that momentum, and then trying to beat certain times so that you can get the gold medals. That's really what keeps me going, what I get addicted by. So every time I get a challenge coming up where it's just about, yeah, taking down opponents and constantly spamming rocket launches and everything like that, it's not as fun to me, but that's really a taste thing. I enjoy WipEout for the fast, fluid, frantic gameplay that it has. So with that being said, that's pretty much my review for the WipEout Omega Collection. It's very simple. These are games that are super awesome to play, very fun at the same time. Either if you're a fan of the series already, who has played these games to death, but who would still like to, like I said, revisit them, go check it out. And otherwise, if you've never played a WipEout game, then I would definitely recommend this, because for 35 bucks, you're getting access to 3 gorgeous looking games that play super well and that are simply a blast to play as far as racing games go. It truly is, you know, an underrated game franchise in my opinion, and I would hope that the game simply sells a lot so that we can, you know, in the future not just talk about an HD re-release, but about an actual new WipEout game. That would really be awesome to see. So with that being said, thanks a lot for watching. Leave a quick like on the video to help support my channel. I'd appreciate it, and let me know your thoughts and if you're getting the game. And then yeah, I hope to see you again next time.